friends, neighbors, and of course, the YouTube comment section. What's going on? I'm on my way to the airport, and I figured since I have an hour-ish drive, and I hate to be like Mr. Vlog Man at the airport because that's super lame, I figured I would do my video intro as I'm driving. Sorry for the weird angle. I think I left my RAM mount thing at home. Was doing some extracurricular YouTube type video at home and I needed the mount. So anyway, this weekend I've got 2 gigs. We've got one in upstate New York and we've got another one in Philadelphia. My last gig in the city a couple weeks ago was pretty dramatic. My flight ended up getting delayed because of weather over in New York, and it got delayed to such a point that it ended up getting canceled, which is kind of hilarious. If I can just be a jerk for a second, I ended up getting upgraded on that flight, and they sat us in first class, and they sat me in first class, which is great. You know, pay for a coach ticket and sit up front. That's what helps if you're a loyal Delta customer, as I. The only bad thing is this one really got me because they kept us on the tarmac thinking that if they could get a landing slot for the airport, they could just go. And being in first class, they plied us with booze, and I partook because I didn't think I had anything to do. So I sat there and consumed 3 Jack and Gingers in the span of about an hour and fell asleep. And woke up to, we're pulling back into the gate because we're running out of fuel. And then I sat in the airport for another hour, and then they canceled the flight. So I ended up getting to the airport at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, getting not hammered, but how shall we say, a bit buzzed, and then falling asleep. And then I had to drive starting at 9 o'clock at night to New York. And then in typical New York style, I couldn't find a parking spot, which took an hour. And it's just a 22-hour day, which is great, super fun. So I figured, in the off chance that I could add some increased drama to this video in case that it happens again, I would give you my intro in the car. So anyway, I think everything should be fine, although I gotta tell you, it did kind of scare me yesterday because Delta sent me an email that said, hey, there might be weather, and since we canceled your flight the last time, just be aware. So hopefully that doesn't happen today and it's a smooth transition. The bands are fun this weekend, which again is another reason why I wanted to do this. I'm with Joey G as per normal. So enjoy the Joey G commentary. Pierre's in this one too, one of my all-time favorite homies. Another YouTube man extraordinaire. So I figured this would be a fun weekend to do gig vlog stuff. So anyway, I will check back in with you as soon as we got something to show you. Bye. Say hi. Look who we found at the airport. just posting up. We'll keep RJ off camera. Let's go. Ran into Gina at the airport. She's picking foreign exchange students up. She's in the foreign exchange program at Youngstown State, so had to go see her. That's a unique thing to add to the video. Well, we got a delay. So LaGuardia is apparently experiencing weather, although I'm looking at the map and it shows nothing. I checked, in case you want to get some nerdy stuff, there's a website called Turbulence Forecast, and that has what's called a PIREP, or a pilot report for any type of weather. There's nothing around New York, so I don't know what's going on. So FlightAware is telling me that it's delayed. So right now it's like 4:20. Hey, 4:20. LaGuardia is at a ground stop until 5. So I texted my buddy Joey G in New York, and I'm like, what's going on? He said, there's no weather. So man, I'm telling you, if I have to drive to the city again for the second week in a row and do an all-nighter, 22-hour day, and then mix 2 shows, I don't want to do that. So, T's and P's. We made it. 5.5 hours later. It does really make you wonder with the flying thing. When I lived in New York full-time, I always used to say, it doesn't really make much sense to fly because you can drive in the same amount of time, and man, was that true. So I had to drive a couple weeks ago as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, and I was able to do it in 6 hours. And that was not unusual. I was usually able to do it in about 6.5, 7 hours. If we were really stopping a lot, we could do it in 7. But if we kept the hammer down and only stopped at Wawa, it was only 6 hours. So man, 5 hours and 42 minutes. We sat on that plane for 2 hours before we got to take off. So welcome to Queens. Welcome to Queens. The only place a man can find a woman with style and culture fit for a king, Queens. So I asked for a room with a view. We have the Queensbridge Con Edison power plant. That's what we got. But check it out. I did take the liberty of pre-ordering my favorite New York thing, which is Halal Guys. Which, as a matter of fact, I roll with my Halal Guys sticker on both of my cases, my luggage and my work box. I always love getting these white sauce things. These are awesome. These are 16-ounce Halal Guys white sauce. So I always buy a gallon of them. I love coming home and giving that to Gina. It's just my favorite thing, and we keep it in the fridge. So the last time, I think it took us 3 or 4 months to go through a gallon of white sauce, and it's one of those if you know, you know kind of things. But yeah, welcome to the road dog life. This is what it really is, y'all. As I'm now cresting 40 days in a Marriott property this year. Something about the frequent flyer miles that are like, oh yeah, this is cool. I've really gone some places. That's something great. But something about like when you think about 40 nights that you haven't spent in your own bed, that one hurts sometimes. But anyway, I'm going to enjoy my Halal Guys bountiful harvest and check out these sweet storage tanks outside the window. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Yo, Joey G,
Yep.
You want camera?
Hi.
What's up?
Well,
You ready for 2 days?
I'm ready for 2 days. I'm gonna put this key here that's calling it.
I figured Pierre was on this gig, so we have to vlog it for YouTube stuff. Let. I don't know where I was going with that. All right, we're gonna load the truck.
We're on the RFK anti-vax bridge.
Not ready for that one.
This is dedicated to the brainworm. This is the same color as the brainworm, actually. This lovely off-green aquamarine that's faded
traffic
outside.
flow again on the RFK bridge.
So we're driving up to West Park, New York, which is about 2.5 hours north of the city for a gig. We're listening to my boy Gerald Albright play Lovely Day with my other boy Michael McDonald, two of my...
And Michael we trust.
And Michael we trust. It's really the only one you can trust these days. Billy, you're gonna have to get into the left 2 lanes, my friend, because we don't want to go to Randall's Island.
It's pronounced Randall's is.
Land. But yeah, here we go.
Let's go. We're 2 hours north of the city today, and then we're in Philly tomorrow.
Correct.
So, hooray for us for driving.
At an interesting venue tomorrow. It's called the Fairmount Waterworks, and I think it has something to do with the old...
You want to say hey to P. Diddy while we're here? There's Rikers.
Oh, hey P. Diddy. Loved you on that nothing. Sorry.
Closing down the studio, y'all.
Let's edit this last part out. I'm turning off.
We have arrived. So, this is actually kind of cool. They have a ton of power down here. 30 amps? Whoa. 20 amps? 30 amps? It's insane. I actually think we have a bit of space tonight too, which is pretty nice because the band is big. So today we have guitar, bass, drums, keys, 3 singers, and 3 horns. So I'm gonna get this set up and check back in. All right, so I'm sure you guys are curious. So this is my starting vocal channel EQ for this room, and taking a look at the system here, this is my main left-right. These are the ringy frequencies. Look, I still have one more band left. Let's look at the PA. The PA is, you know, actually pretty open this evening. Here are the subs. Again, just to stop you in the comment section right now, this is a crossover filter. This is not a bunch of EQ points. That is a crossover. So what we're doing to the subs here is we're knocking out a notch at 80 and 40. That's the resonant frequencies of the subwoofers, the cabinets themselves, and also in this room. And if you'd like to see a video on my subwoofer theory, check the upper right hand corner of your screen. So that's where we're at so far, and we're gonna keep setting it up. Check that out. Ceremony's on top of a mountain today in upstate New York. Joe looking stoic as always. Jack, where's your guitar? So we are covering this today with an SM58 with a windsock on it. We have a RCF 10-inch two-way cabinet, and we are gaff taping it so that it doesn't spin because it's on a hill. So the speaker is just wanting to point that way, so that's what we've come up with. We'll call it an AAD, an acoustic aiming device. So our reception is actually down there in the building with the red roof. So we actually drove up here. There's our U-Haul van off in the distance. So I don't know how much ceremony footage, if anything, I'll get for you, but we'll check back in. Jackie's...
Yeah, nobody helps the guitar player.
Nobody helped the sound guys.
Every week.
All right, you two feel bad for the guitar players. Oh no, I only get to take 3 solos tonight where all the drunk girls will love me. Oh, the sound guy, what do you play, Billy? The high pass filter? Look at this. Look at this.
Look at this. Huh?
Same belt. Same belt.
A trifecta of
Same
goals.
belt. Look at all the Italians. All the Italians with Atomic Funk have the same belt.
So now, by the power vested in me by the Universal Life Church Ministries via the internet and New York State, but more importantly, by the power of your love, persistence, and truly being 2 peas in a pod, I pronounce you husband and wife. Jake, you may kiss your bride.
Watch me dance, every night away. I can keep my going, I will have a place. Watch me dance, dancing my way. I step with the party, turning on key and hit my
Hi. How you doing?
So
It is 2:34.
we started the day at 11:30. So when we have these 2 for gigs like this, there's this parking deck in Astoria that we always park the U-Haul in. So now Joey and I are going our separate ways, worlds apart.
For about 6 hours.
And then we're driving to Philly tomorrow. Check it out. I got this sketch of me. There was a person doing watercolors at the thing. One of the waitresses at the end of the night was like, "Here, I think this is you." And I think it is me, actually.
My favorite watercolors is smooth jazz.
So we're gonna try to get some sleep for like 4 or 5 hours, and then we'll be here fresh as a daisy in the morning.
As a daisy in the morning. But it's the morning now.
It is the morning now. Welcome to 95 on a Saturday, where everybody's cutting everybody off because everybody gotta make they nut.
Except us. We have the moral high ground.
Because we're waiting in line while we're watching everyone else cut everybody else off. So anyway, we'll see you guys in Philly. We've arrived in Philly.
I haven't had lunch.
We're in this tent, this plexiglass tent thing today, and so we're not actually bringing our PA into this. They have a PA there, and it's a little QSC stick PA, which is funny. It's actually smaller than the PA than we usually bring.
I bet they got lunch.
Joe and I have been stuck in traffic for 3 hours of nonstop stop and go traffic. It has not been super fun. So we're both a little cranky. Dudes, welcome to Philly. So today we are in a tent of sorts. This thing is fairly bougie. Look at this. So we are somewhere in downtown Philadelphia, maybe West Philadelphia, maybe born and raised. So anyway, this is a fairly interesting gig today. Because this is like a park kind of thing, the venue actually provided this PA. So we have these QSC K, what are these things? 12s, 10s. Oh, they're 10s. And the little baby subs that go with it, because they have a pretty serious dB limit here. So, which again, I don't care. It's give me the opportunity to mix the band quietly. I'm super down with all of those things. So I didn't really get a lot of video last night. It was kind of, there's a lot going on. Oh my God, look, it's Jack Broad. Music direction professional. So anyway, we're gonna get this set up. I'm just about to turn things on and see what it sounds like. The only thing that kind of sucks is they only give me left-right today. No left-right sub. What is a boy to do? What is a boy to do? Anyway, let's turn this thing on and see what it sounds like. So this is ceremony today. We have a chuppah. We have the beautiful downtown Philly view. And we're doing this with one mic and one little RCF speaker that's over here. And you'd be surprised what a 58 with a windsock on it will pick up. So, because mixer is right in the sun, look, our fabulous violinist. What I'm gonna do is turn it off. And I happen to bring a white towel to protect that. So we're gonna go finish setting up the reception. So I'm worried about the mixer overheating because it's in direct sunlight. So this is what I came up with for my cover. So I gave Dave my little white rag for his wireless receiver because we don't have enough outlets over here. Really true professionals today. We're using Jack's amp cover. That handsome boy is letting me borrow it. Look at these guys. So this could be some of my finest gaff work ever. I feel like I should show you guys this as we're tearing down here. We had a reception issue with the in-ears because they were below the stage. So this is what I had to do to make it work. So I pulled the rack unit out, and then I gaff taped the antennas to the stage so that the packs would stop cutting out. And that, kids, is why you use a shortwave antenna.
And I still haven't eaten.
You still haven't eaten?
Just kidding.
What?
I had Wawa.
What time is it?
It is 3:30 in the morning. Just got home.
Well, we're at U-Haul. Yeah, we're at U-Haul at 3:30 in the morning. So I left this morning at 11. What time did you leave?
Sorry?
I left at 11. What time did you leave?
Pretty much the same. Yeah.
Hooray! And just like that, we go to sleep.
Good night, everybody.
Y'all, what'd you think of that? That was 2 days. I'm tired. I slept like 3 hours last night and made my way home. Just got home. Benvenuto, New Middletown. I'm telling you, I've been mixing this band for 9 years. And the past, 3 weeks of shows have been crazy. The mothers have been crazy. I don't know what's going on with the moms out there, but yeesh. So yesterday's second gig in Philly, or the second gig of the weekend, yesterday's gig, was interesting. So they had that little baby PA, which I will say, they had a QSC rig in there, and the cardioid subs, whatever they had in there, were really nice sounding. And I didn't realize that they were cardioid until the end of the night, and it was just, as soon as we started sound check, I looked behind him. I was standing behind him. I'm like, God, there's no bass back here. I'm like, God, these must be cardioid. That's cool. So I told the house guy, I'm like, dude, cardioid subs, nice. He goes, yeah, that's why we use them in here. So they had that system so limited that as soon as I pushed the volume up, even a little bit, and I know if you guys follow me, I like to keep my shows at 90. I am not a loud mixer by any stretch, which we're going to get to a Shop Talk episode about this because I feel like we have to talk about this. But the limiters sucked that PA down so ferociously. I don't know what they were using. They had a laptop and a little PreSonus interface in there, and everything was plugged into that. So I don't know if they had various measurement mics around, like the outside or whatever. So the house guys said, I'm going to stay outside, and that way if we get noise complaints, I can actively measure your decibel output so that if you're over our threshold, I have to come in and tell you to turn down. And I just told him, I'm like, dude, no worries. This isn't going to be a problem. I'll mix the show quiet. I'm good. You don't have to yell at me. Everything's fine. The only other venue that I've seen that had that strict of a noise policy was Red Rocks, ironically. Not to flex that muscle, but... So we get into the vibe set, and I'm already realizing that things kind of aren't all right. So I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be a huge problem. So I got on the God mic, and God bless Brian, the drummer. I just got on the God mic to everybody and said, something's up with the sound system. I'm going to have to sort this out. But the problem is any acoustic instrument, which is basically just the drums and the horns, were overwhelming everything because that's how limited it was. So as soon as I could push the vocals up, the whole system just went smoosh. And it's like, oh no. So I had to do some pretty serious reconfiguring because the way that I run my show file is I compress everything fairly hard because the gain staging of our system allows to do that. So as I'm just undoing all of the group compression that I have going on, the mother of the groom just starts freaking out. She's like, this is terrible sounding. We can't hear the singers. I'm like, and she didn't tell any of this to me. It was just, through our band manager, who's unfortunately just sort of a sponge for all that kind of stuff. And he told me, I'm like, dude, I know it's the system. So simultaneously of me sorting that out, the one singer had problems with her ears, and was not communicating in the best way of saying what was wrong. There was just a lot of, I'm like, what's wrong? You know? And then simultaneously, the singers all were having range issues with their packs that did not present themselves during sound check, because of course. So the last clip of the night, I showed you my two gaff taped antennas that I had to pull the receiver out of the rack, or the transmitter out of the rack, and tape the antenna. So we had two issues with the packs. One pack was having battery contact issues where you just had to jiggle them just right to get it to work. The other pack's volume pot went from quiet, loud. So here's what we figured out. The singer that was having problems with the pack, because the band runs 4 mixes over 2 transmitters, the packs are panned hard right and hard left. So at the beginning of the night, the way that she had the pack attached to her bra behind her, because she had a dress on, she somehow managed to pan the pack in the center. So she was getting 2 people's mixes. Secondarily, there was an issue with her earbuds that she was going one in, one out, and the one that was in was clogged with wax. So I grabbed her pack, figured out that it was the panning issue, panned it all the way left, everything was fine. I gave her my ears, that was solved. We pulled the rack out, got the antenna issue solved, and then we went through the gyration of trying to figure out the gain stage of the PA. So finally, the house guy, who of course set the system up, we didn't listen to the system together. He just set it up and gave me left and right. And he goes, here you go, make noise. I'm like, okay. So I didn't know how serious they were about the volume thing. So, as the mother of the groom was yelling and just saying, this is terrible, this is terrible, this is terrible, which felt like an eternity. I mean, this happened over the course of 3 songs. So within 10 minutes, we solved 3 to 4 fairly major issues, you know what I mean, before they even really started dancing. The songs that we solved the problem over were the hora. So there was like a 10-minute hora, and I think it was like Ain't No Mountain. There were like the 10-minute hora and 3 of the Motown songs. So it was like, or 2 of the Motown songs. So, maybe 4 pop songs, but we got it solved in, 15-ish minutes. The guy saunters back in because the venue staff knows about the volume limit, so they went and got him. So he came in, he goes, oh, dude, you could turn way up, way up. So, I didn't even have time for him to pull his laptop out. I just went to the back of the speakers, bypassed the limiter, because the limiter was before that, and just turned the gain stage of everything up, which allowed me to use my show file as per normal, which I didn't look at where he had the volume pots on all the speakers and the subs. They were at like 11 o'clock. So no wonder, as soon as I just opened them up all the way, it's just like, oh my God, everything went better. So, it was wild. So I looked at his limiter at the end of the night. And even though we essentially bypassed it, I watched him pull his laptop up, and it just had it's one of those red light, green light kind of things. And it said it was showing 72 dB. So that's how gain down. So I can only assume that there have been some bands or DJs in there that have been just huge problems. At the end of the night, I'm like, how do we do? He goes, oh, dude, you're perfect. You weren't even close to the dB limit. I'm like, oh my God. If we could have just had a basic conversation about this, or if you could have just listened to soundcheck or stayed around. So, house humans, I implore you, if you're babysitting a PA, I know the Stacks and Racks gigs aren't amazingly fun, and you're just going to zone out and goof off on your phone. And I've certainly done it. I've certainly had to babysit DJ PAs where I'm like, nah, here's the limiter on 31 and 32. Have fun. You can push into that thing all you want, but it's good. It's if you're at over 100, no bueno. So it's they had I think it was a 90 dB limit, and I told them it was no problem. I mixed it at 90 with peaks at 95, and he goes, okay, fine. So that caused years to come off of my life, if I could be completely honest with you. All of those problems all at once, all at top of the show. So the other thing is, I find that a lot of you guys who maybe aren't used to mixing weddings specifically look at a lot of my EQ techniques for the house graph and things like that, and maybe question my methods. I think it would be worth pointing out what we had to deal with the last 2 nights. Singers, the first venue, I had to fight with the management, the venue management, to try to explain to them why pushing the PA basically against the wall and having 3 horns and 3 singers in front of the PA would be a bad idea. She goes, you can go as wide as you want, you just can't go deep. I'm like, I can't. The drums are up the singers' butts, so they're getting nothing but drums in their mix because singer's going to singer. So as the singers get tired throughout the night, it's a very vicious cycle, which I have this conversation with them every single time, that as you turn yourself up, you're getting more drums that are directly behind you. Like, what'd you think was going to happen? I always tell everybody, it's a magnet. It doesn't discriminate. A microphone is a magnet. It doesn't discriminate. It will pick up whatever the loudest thing is. So both nights I had singers that were cupping the mic, which just drove my strategic EQ notches. They're like, what do you want me to do? You know? So it's like, So I ended up incrementally sliding the PA forward on Friday night to solve my 8K feedback issues that I just could not notch out with a singer that was cupping the mic on plane with the speakers. And yesterday's was weird because the singers were on plane with the tweeter. Usually I solve those feedback issues by putting the speakers as high as I possibly can, because that, obviously it just gets the horns out of the way, the tweeters out of the way, and that just solves that problem, especially if you're not on a stage, if you're just in a corner. The other thing is, our singer Scott last night, who's one of my absolute favorite singers to work with, runs out in the crowd and sings with drunk people. And it's like, oh my God, what are you doing? So when the speakers are right on plane with the downstage lip and all the singers at one time, when it's shut up and dance with me and they all point their mics out to the crowd, it's like, ah! So your flat, smart curve that you guys may get during sound check is out the window, because you're doing big boy stage stuff. When you're doing little guy stage stuff, when singers are going to run around and sing with the crowd and point the mics at God knows where, and dad who doesn't know how to talk into a microphone is holding his phone in front of him. We'll use this access point. He's holding his phone in front of him like this, and a 58's right there, and he's 10 feet in front of the PA, and you're just gaining as much of that up as you possibly can. Sometimes you got to do some unorthodox things. So I put a link in the beginning of the video. I'm going to put a link in the beginning of the video about my subwoofer EQ, or my subwoofer crossover theory. I like to cross my subs over at 75 hertz. And the way we do that on the X32 is there's a Butterworth filter that's a 24 dB per octave that just makes it look like there's a million EQ things. So all of you who just say, oh, just turn the subs down. It's a crossover, guys. Watch the video. It'll explain it. You'll still comment, because I'm sure none of you who have commented are watching this long. But anyway, sorry, I'm cranky. I've had like 2 hours of sleep. So I'm going to take a shower and then eventually edit this video. I don't know where it's going to go up, but, shout out to my bands. You guys were so awesome. Every single one of you. We had, a tricky couple of days, and everybody just rolled with the punches. Brian, my drummer, last night. Oh, that was the other thing. There's a giant hole in the middle of the PA. That was the other thing that took me a minute to figure out, which sounds idiotic to admit, but because those speakers, those K10 speakers they were pointed straight out, you couldn't hear anything in the middle of the dance floor. So when you walked around the room, everything sounded fine. But if you were in the center of the dance floor, the only thing you could hear is drums. So, if you're standing in front of the speaker stack, you're just like, oh my God, everything sounds fine. And if you walk around, it sounds fine. But there is the dead spot in the middle that just, you could hear nothing. So I finally figured that out once we got into the dance set. Pointed the speakers in like this, and everything was fine. Like, to the rest of the night, everything was fine. So the mother of the groom, who told me that everything was terrible every 3 seconds, gave me one of the nicest compliments I've ever had in my life. As she was vaping, she said, "It's better." I'm like, I'll take that as a win. So, if you're having problems, make sure, just a life lesson, man. I mean, again, I've been mixing shows for a long time, but if you're having problems, go to where the people are. If it sounds good at front of house, you know what I mean, or it sounds good as you walk around, go walk down an aisle. Or I walked in the middle of the dance floor amongst the people. I'm like, oh God, they can't hear. The only thing they can hear is drums. And, God bless Brian for just tapping the drums all night for a dance set. But that venue needed front fills, and, it's one of those things that it's like, what do? You set front fills up at a break. You know what I mean? It's just like, and then hope you ring them out right and do all that kind of stuff. So, I don't know. This video is getting too long and I'm already complaining too much. So, I'll leave you on this. If you're going to complain about something, it's not that sometimes your complaints aren't valid. The mother of the groom's complaints were valid, and all of the things that she said were a problem were a problem. Sometimes it's just in the delivery that's a little bit jarring if you're trying to solve a problem. The joke that I made last night is there's a person in first class that goes through the cabin cockpit of a crashing jetliner and yells at the captain and says, "The plane is crashing." And he or she looks behind it and says, "I'm aware. No one is more aware that the plane is crashing than me." Why can't you fix it? Well, I could fix it, or I can talk to you about it. So, thank you for noticing that the plane is crashing. And I'm going to get on that as best I can. Anyway, sorry for yelling. Sorry for the long ending of a very long video. But thanks for watching, guys. Catch you on the next one. Bye.